I'm proud to be an educator just like my mom. Working as a teacher is an incredibly rewarding career that not everyone can do well. However, it's no secret that the education profession is in a crisis on a global scale. Every day, educators are confronted with immense challenges that seem to be endless. The profession has been shattered into fragments, attracting fewer new teachers and driving veteran teachers to leave the field. The education profession is struggling to effectively evolve because of the lack of a unifying framework, meaning these challenges have only worsened over time. Many dedicated professionals have tirelessly plugged leaks in the dam, but this is no longer enough to hold back the floods. There are countless institutional barriers to communication, collaboration, evaluation, and development that are so ingrained in our organizations that any efforts to address the roots of these issues have left little impact or have been thwarted altogether. The majority of the burden to fix the education system has fallen on the shoulders of educators. We've been asked to take on more and more responsibilities while having to navigate a disconnected and disorganized network of resources. These burdens have caused the levels of teacher burnout and attrition to reach an all-time high. To take a deeper look at the hoops teachers have to jump through just to access developmental activities, let's look at 6 types of websites that educators currently use for their professional development. The first and most obvious need for an in-service teacher is to easily find and easily apply to jobs. Common sites like LinkedIn are used by some educational organizations, but these sites have cumbersome job application processes, recommend positions irrelevant to teachers, and allow manipulative and unethical practices to take place. There are a few organizations that focus uniquely on jobs and education, but these sites are specific to sectors, states, or even districts, despite the fact that many educators, including myself, work in many sectors and regions throughout their careers. Additionally, these sites often include outdated or redundant job postings or link back to repetitive applications on private sites. Educators must stay knowledgeable about theories on best practices and on emerging approaches to instruction. There are many sites that offer free repositories of open resource literature, but they are underfunded and have limited features. Meanwhile, private publications are marketed and distributed on other platforms, leaving the knowledge they contain disconnected from practice. Makeshift solutions like Google Scholar have been used, but they lack the credibility to be reliable, as they provide inaccurate citations and have limited functionality. On the other hand, researchers themselves must manage the various stages of the publication process on their own, resorting to the outdated methods used by the publication industry. Educators need social interaction to develop professionally, not only to explore unfamiliar concepts and to integrate new practices, but also to engage in community building, mentorship, and collaborative socio-emotional regulation. Some educators use common social media sites to connect. However, many of these sites sell user data for manipulative purposes and are run by billionaires who prioritize raising capital at all expenses. Additionally, these sites will soon no longer truly be accessible, as they are moving toward paid models or are currently being banned by the US government. There have been a few attempts at creating a social platform specifically for educators, but these sites use extremely outdated technology and remain disconnected from other professional processes. While in service, educators must engage in professional development activities like trainings, workshops, conferences, and courses, among other activities. In recent years, there's been an uptick in the popularity of learning platforms. However, very few of the offerings on these platforms are actually relevant to educators. There are some sites that offer free developmental resources for educators. However, they require teachers to routinely navigate to each of these sites on their own. When compounded by membership to numerous professional communities, this administrative encumbrance becomes even more problematic for teachers. In the past decades, there's been a boom in the number of private software companies that offer professional development for educators at a price. Though they may offer quality materials, these platforms are often only accessible to educators if they are employed in a teaching institution that chooses to invest in such services. Even more, the choices on these platforms are limited to each company's own catalog, and there are no transparent assessments of the quality and impact of these programs. Not only do educators have to stay up to date on teaching strategies, but they must also continually update the content of their teaching materials. Among other platforms, Pinterest is used by many educators to curate and share collections of free teaching materials with other professionals. However, this type of content management is often overlooked by supervisors when assessing professional development. And social media sites are often blocked on school Wi-Fi, which means bringing home more work for teachers. There are other sites that offer teaching resources and reviews of products and services, but they are disconnected from all developmental processes or are limited in the scope of their materials. In summary, educators are forced to track down their professional development activities among countless websites and platforms just to get by. Educators who are already overwhelmed with responsibilities must pioneer their own way through harsh environments. Nevertheless, their hard work often ends up fruitless and forgotten like footsteps in the snow. Without a forum in which we can collectively frame the future of education, we will continue to spin our wheels in the mud. It's time we come together to ensure that all our efforts leave an impact on the profession. We must unify our shattered profession to create a sustainable professional community. I'm building a centralizing platform where we can organize our profession to bring about the future of education. To do this, we must turn data into knowledge and ultimately into wisdom. Welcome to Professionall, your go-to professional information ecosystem. On the Professionall platform, you can connect with and get updates from colleagues, research partners, and peers in your field. You can easily find job postings, calls for proposals, and other career-changing opportunities. You can pose questions to your community to collaboratively solve problems or provide support. You can find, review, and buy products and services to improve your practice. You can set, track, and report progress toward professional development goals. You can easily access and contribute to institutional knowledge processes. You can access and practically apply data to influence decision-making and reformation strategies. And you can stay up to date on the cutting edge of research publications to continually evolve your practice. Professionall will allow educators to effectively implement their professional capital via an official social framework. And in doing so, we can unify and democratize our profession to sustainably and transparently support all educators throughout their careers. Educators are a cornerstone of society, and the education profession is the predecessor to all other professions. It's about time educators were treated like the professionals we are. As a public benefit corporation, the specific purpose of Professionall is to advocate for the well-being of all educators around the world, to reduce teacher burnout and attrition, and to inspire and nourish the future generations of educational leaders. Educators operating in different contexts are working towards solving the same issues, but are deprived of the transformative power of collaboration. The Professionall community is a place where all educators come together, where pre-service and novice teachers can connect with experts, where administrators can cooperate with their supervisees to effect change, where teacher educators can easily circulate the forefront of the future of education. Professionall is not just another platform. It's a space where all professional development comes together so we can step back and see the forest for the trees. Professionall will serve as a card catalog to the library of professional resources that continues to expand every day. Our mission is to organize and democratize the world's pedagogical knowledge, to identify and collectively resolve the deficits within the education profession, to enhance the relevancy, quality, and outcomes of professional development, and to implement transparent, sustainable, and equitable community practices for all of the education profession. We have a lot of work to do before this dream becomes a reality. So, visit professionall.pro to join the waitlist now and stay updated on our journey toward the future of education.